Governor Gretchen Whitmer is set to deliver her last State of the State address tonight.
The speech starts at 7 in front of a joint session of the Michigan House and Senate. It will mark the end of a long tenure in Lansing, wrapping up the end of the year. Political reporter Rick Albin is at the Capitol right now with what we expect her to say. Rick?
You know, it was a night very much like this one in 2001 when then State Representative Gretchen Whitmer sat through her first State of the State in the same room where she will deliver her last in just about an hour. There are a lot of important things that have to be done in the legislature this year, and many of them will be dealt with right in this room. This is the appropriations room. Some big questions about what the finances of the state are going to look like, but expect there to be a little bit of memory lane tonight, too, because as she looks back over the last 7 years that she served as governor, as well as her time in the legislature, there's a lot of speculation that some of that is going to be part of that conversation. But at least one lawmaker says he wants this governor to come up with some bold plans and make some big changes in the short time she has left. He says he doesn't want to wait for a new governor to get important things done right now. Here's Representative Matt Hall.
My concern is we're going to hear from the governor today safe plans, limited plans. I don't think we should have to wait another year for a new governor to do both things, and that's why I'm putting major property tax relief on the agenda. I put a viable plan to do it on the agenda, and I'm going to challenge Governor Whitmer to put a plan forward, embrace a conversation, and let's make a deal. And I think property tax is such an issue right now. I think we can get a deal and we can save people thousands of dollars, really, if you look at their property taxes, and also we're going to lower their energy bills. I think Governor Whitmer will be interested, and I think we can make a deal.
Hall has not talked yet with the governor about those plans, but the speaker says he thinks they have the ability to make a deal based on some of the things that got done together last year. But here is one of the bigger problems that's going to exist for both the speaker and the governor, and that is this. There is going to be a shortfall in terms of how much money is coming into the Treasury this year because of some of those tax cuts that they agreed to last year. The governor has suggested that perhaps money from the rainy day fund could be used, but the speaker has said flatly he is not in favor of doing that. So we may be setting up for another big budget battle. We'll see if the governor talks about that tonight. Coming up at 6 o'clock, more from Hall and more about what we think the governor is going to talk about. I'm live in Lansing. Rick Albin, News 8.